Welcome back to Midday Kentucky. It's time for another session of Wednesday Wealth, and today we're discussing the impact both China and President Trump are having on interest rates with Jonathan Davis from JT Davis Asset Management. Welcome back to the show, Jonathan.
Thanks for coming back. Thank you so much.
Okay, so talk to us about what is going on with the interest rates, because they just announced that they were going to be moving those interest rates up, right?
Yeah. How much time we have now?
Seriously, talk away.
But yeah, I think the main thing we got to keep in mind though is that historically, we're in a very low interest rate environment and have been for almost 20 years. And what's happening now is that with money's been so cheap for so long, it's given us an artificial sense of where interest rates should be.
Yeah.
And with rates rates are supposed to only inch up just maybe 3 or 4 basis points, but it feels like it's a lot.
Yeah.
From a historical standpoint, it's not very much at all. So people in the market are overreacting a bit.
Are they?
To the rates increase? Yeah.
And what do you think is driving some of that? Talk to us about China or President Trump. I hear people kind of throwing that out, but impacting it?
On the Chinese part, the Chinese are buying a lot of our treasury bonds, which lets them, I guess, artificially manipulate what our interest rates are.
What are treasury bonds?
Treasury bonds are bonds issued by the U.S. Treasury that can be bought by anybody, but they can buy billions and billions of dollars worth of them that can, like I said, they can influence the price by buying so many all at once. And President Trump is wanting to enact some protectionist strategies, America First, and so there's some push and pull going on there. So it's a little bit of a Cold War kind of a thing almost.
Right.
I mean, but it's fought in the financial trenches, not in the in the field. And yeah, a lot of things are going on behind the scenes that are affecting us from a monetary standpoint that are going to make it a bit more rocky in the marketplace for probably the next couple of years, I would say.
Wow.
But that being said, we're still projecting moderate increases in the stock market over the course of the year, though, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, should we be panicking a little bit at this
No,
point?
no reason to panic. I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, a lot of things go on behind the scenes that most civilians are not really aware of.
Right.
It's just that now some of the stuff's kind of come to light.
Yeah.
But this is actually a normal market environment. Lots of gyrations, lots of ups and downs, but what's happened is that over the past 20 years, more and more people now have some money in the market, whether it be through a mutual fund or whether it be through their 401k. So by having more of a vested interest, people are, I guess, more aware or more acutely aware of what's going on. So you're seeing things that have been going on for years, but it's being fought in a more public forum now.
Gotcha.
Well, you mentioned money that we have invested, if that's our 401k or other investments, rising interest rates.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the effects.
Yes. First of all, from a historical standpoint, again, stocks and bonds usually have what's called an inverse relationship. When stocks do well, bonds historically don't do well. And when interest rates go up, usually it makes bonds do well, which means that from a historical standpoint, stocks should go down. However, we don't feel like we're going to be in a normal environment at all. We still feel like even if interest rates go up and bonds go up, stocks still should do okay. Not as great as we've had the last couple of years, but we still should have some positive returns for the most part in the stock market.
You know, I hear a lot of people talking about gold and precious metals and things like that. Explain how, is that a good investment anytime or right now possibly, since things are going to be changing? What are your thoughts on that?
I like gold, I like precious metals, I like alternative investments. What I don't suggest you do is go buy a bunch of gold coins and put them in a box and put them under your bed. That's not really an investment. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. But
I got to call Doug and have him get gold out. Take it back to the bank, Doug.
But what you could do, though, you can buy a mutual fund and buy an ETF, or which is an exchange-traded fund that invests in companies that mine gold and companies that mine precious metals. You can do that for a very small amount of money, and you can also diversify a small amount of money over lots of different companies, as opposed to having a handful of gold coins under your bed, like grandma.
Yeah, right.
Well, it seems like there's so much going on, so many different choices to make. But for our viewers at home, what's the number one thing they should be keeping in mind or taking action to do, thinking of their financial health?
The number one thing to keep in mind is not to panic.
To
keep a very long-term approach, or at least stay focused on what your initial goal was. If you are still on track for your goal, don't do anything differently. However, if your goal has changed or your time horizon has changed, it might be time to make some adjustments. Call your advisor, bounce it off, some knowledgeable friends. Even myself, I've been in this business for 25 years, and I still talk to other people about my own investments because I want to make sure that someone is checking my homework.
Right.
And I think sometimes individual investors at home, they think, well, I can do this investment stuff. And there's more to it than that. Even if you just talk to a friend who knows a little bit about it, you guys should talk amongst yourselves and come up with a consensus as opposed to just kind of cocooning and picking a few random things because you read a magazine article about it. That's crazy.
Good advice. That's
Yeah.
really good advice. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Jonathan.
You're welcome,
We really
ladies.
appreciate you being here. We
Thank
have
you.
all of your information up on the screen for anyone who needs even more financial advice. Definitely give Jonathan a call. And we are back in the kitchen with Allison Eastland after the break, taking a look at an interesting chicken dish. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. You're watching Midday Kentucky.